Okay. Looks like we're all set. Yep, I can hear you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dawn Patrol. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. We have Mike Smith with us. We're hoping to have Fru and Eileen in just a second. This morning, the U.S. national debt was 37.541, which means it was up about $14 billion from Thursday evening. $14 billion. You know, that's a lot of money.
We just printed more paper. It's like another case of toilet paper.
And we'll do that right up until it doesn't work anymore.
Oh, the other countries are doing it? What does China back their currency with?
Well, the good news is in Argentina, they've got inflation down to only 40%.
Well, let me just present it here in a different fashion about all these countries who back up their currency with faith. How strong is God?
Perfectly strong.
So what makes you think paper that we have faith in is not going to be perfectly strong?
History.
That's when it was backed by gold.
Well, other nations have run into problems.
Cliff, everywhere I go, they want the American dollar.
Yep.
And when that starts to slow down, Russia tried to say, well, they want the ruble. China says, what is this, the yen they have over there? They want the
No.
yen.
No, that's Japan.
Mike Smith.
Okay, well,
So, Mike, I noticed you.
There's no sound. I've got video, but no sound. So.
All right, let me put. You're missing the argument of the year.
Okay. Well, I saw John speaking, but no sound coming out. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Sometimes. So.
Mike, we're talking about that all the countries back up their currency with faith, no longer with gold. So Cliff's there, well, you know, the deficit went up by $65 billion today, and I don't care. We'll just print more money. Because the Chinese, whatever they call their money, Cliff, what do they call their money, the Chinese?
Yuan.
The AUANs, okay. They back it up with faith. They have no gold to back that up.
Well, that's not true, John. I've read articles. China's been buying tons and tons of gold the last couple of years.
I understand, but the agreement is we back it up with gold. We back it up with faith. Well, we got too many audio sources going here, so.
Okay, wait a minute. I just muted on mine, so.
All right, perfect. So China's been buying tons of gold.
Yeah. China's been buying a lot of gold. I'm not Russia, not so much, but China's been buying a lot of gold the last couple of years.
Okay, well, what does China back up their money with?
Well, right now, the way the money system works is the reason that we don't worry about our debt so much, I mean, even though we have a huge amount of debt, is that the people believe in us as a safe place and a stable country.
That wasn't the question, Mike.
Our economy and that.
Going off
If we
course.
lose that trust and faith by the other countries, then there's a big problem.
Now, the question, Mike, is what does China back up their currency with?
Well, right now, the only thing I can think of they're backing it up with is their gold and that people believe in them. When people lose faith in any of the countries and they don't think that they're stable or trustworthy, that's where there's a problem with their currency. That's why countries like Russia now and Iran and those kind of countries are having issues because people don't trust their economy, they don't trust them.
So, my takeaway, and I don't want to put words in it, let's ask the esteemed expert, Cliff. Clifford, what does China back up their money with?
Gold and the dollar.
So, the United States doesn't use gold?
What? They use
So
gold
they back up their money with our dollar?
and gold
So they back up their money with our money.
and gold.
Pretty cool. What did the Germans back up their money with?
The dollar.
I don't think the dollar has any worries. Back over to you, Cliff.
Temperature's going up to 78. Looks fine outside. Go ahead, Mike.
What's that, with the weather today?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be in the mid-80s again, and
It's still dark here.
I'm still hearing like an echo, but
All right, I'll work on that.
yeah. So, anyways, yeah, better now. The weather today is supposed to be fairly good in the mid-80s. No hurricanes looking to landfall in Florida in the near future. Humbrero is going out over the ocean, whipping around. The Imelda Right now, maybe some rains and winds, but nothing hitting the coastline. Maybe in North or South Carolina, some weather there. But as far as Florida goes, doesn't look like anything going on this week as far as anything to be concerned about.
Are you guys worried about mass migration if McDonough wins the mayoral race in New York City?
Well, it's already started. A lot of businesses have moved to Texas or Florida or whatever, and I think it won't be people so much because not everybody can move, but businesses will just leave. It happened in Canada with Montreal when they didn't want to have English there. All the businesses moved to Toronto and said, "The heck with that." In today's digital age, they could move the New York Stock Exchange without a problem and make it the Florida Stock Exchange. I mean, they're not tied in like they were before, with everything being electronic and digital and AI and all the other stuff going on. So, the big thing now is if he tries to do what he wants to do, he's going to bankrupt New York City. And guess who's not going to give him any money from the federal government? The Trump administration will say, "You're on your own, sink or swim." So it could be a big disaster for New York City after this election if he tries to implement all the stuff going on. And then I saw that just Cuomo and Mondavi and then the Sliva from the Republican Party, the only ones left in the race now. Now that the current mayor has dropped out, we'll see what happens. But this could be a huge disaster for New York City. And right now, they're not going to be able to go to the federal government and get a bailout because Trump will just let them just sink into the black hole of bankruptcy. He doesn't have any problem with that.
That's a factor. So, looking back in history, in 1789 on this date, George Washington proclaimed Thursday, November 26th, 1789, a Thanksgiving Day.
Hey, can I ask Mike a question? He won't be able to hear me, so you have to repeat it for me.
Go ahead.
How is it that New York authorities wouldn't give Adams his campaign money? Is that shenanigans behind the scenes? They just screwed the guy?
Oh, yeah, the Democratic Party is such a mess. I mean, Hochul has endorsed him. AOC has, because we know how she is. But let's look at the bigger picture. Schumer and Jeffries from the Senate or the House, they have not endorsed him yet. And they're not going to, because that would be a disaster nationally for the party.
But Mike, how is it they can keep Adams' campaign money away from his control?
Because they make the rules. They can do whatever they want. Look at what they did with Harris. Kamala. That's the first time ever they've never had a primary. They just changed their own rules. That's all. They can do whatever they want.
He is not the Democratic nominee. Eric Adams was not the Democratic nominee.
Cliff, if I write you a check, Cliff, for city council, the committee to re-elect Cliff Krieger, if I write you a check for that,
Yeah.
nobody has the authority in Massachusetts to withdraw that money from you. I know they did it to Marty Meehan, but how is it they can do that? I donated money to Cliff Krieger's campaign for him to be elected as a city councilor, and some goofball down in Boston decides, no, you can't get that money, Cliff.
Well, let me step in, I think, on this, John, is first of all, the money doesn't go in Eric Adams' name. It goes into the campaign fund.
Yeah.
The campaign fund is controlled by the Democratic Party. See, they manage that stuff. I don't know I may be a little bit off base on this, but they make their account, and it's under the Democratic Party control. So that's how they can do that, as far as that goes. It's just, they just make their own rules. It's not in Eric Adams' personal name. It may be written to him as the candidate, but it's not in his name personally. Like you and I have a bank account. It's in the campaign fund bank account. So that's how that can be controlled. Because let's take an example. Say Eric Adams had a sudden heart attack and died on the spot. That money's not going to sit in limbo forever. It's going to go to whoever the new candidate is.
Okay.
That's what happened when Joe Biden pulled out. The campaign money went to Kamala Harris.
Puzzling.
Yeah. So anyway, and then in 1863, on this day, President Abraham Lincoln declared the last Thursday of November as Thanksgiving Day. So that's where that tradition comes from. In 1981, the hunger strike at the Maze Prison, also known as Long Kesh, in Northern Ireland ended after 7 months and 10 deaths. In 1990, the German Democratic Republic was abolished and became part of the Federal Republic of Germany, afterwards known as German Unification Day. And in 1995, in the O.J. Simpson murder case, O.J. was acquitted of the murders of Nicole Brown, Simpson, and Ronald Goldman. Well, that was a public... In 1800, George Bancroft, an American historian and politician, 17th Secretary of the Navy, was born. Died in 1891. Not bad, 91 years. In 1916, James Harriet, English veterinarian and author, died. He wrote All Creatures Great and Small. In 1226, Francis of Assisi passed away, and he had been born in 1181 or so. And
Who was born in 1182?
well, according to Wikipedia, Francis of Assisi. It's indeterminate. Undetermined. In 1656, Miles Standish passed away. We remember Miles Standish from the early days of...
Didn't he invent mayonnaise?
No,
Okay. Bullets? Did he invent bullets?
no.
All right.
He invented Massachusetts.
Okay.
He's the one that kept the colony going.
Do you think he'd be proud today?
I don't know.
Where our motto in Massachusetts now is, if you don't like it here, move. Move to New Hampshire. In Massachusetts, it's not going to dawn on them that the youngsters are moving to New Hampshire. They're not moving to Massachusetts. They're moving to New Hampshire.
Did you have your Rice Krispies before the show?
I don't eat Rice Krispies normally.
Oh, okay.
I like them when they cake them up and they have like a little sweetness to them, like little blocks. I forget what they call them. But I've had those before too. Ever tried those, the little blocked up ones with sweetness?
No.
They're yummy.
So...
What did you have for breakfast?
A candy bar.
A regular Hershey's or
No, a Fifth Avenue.
Fifth Avenue? I like the $1 Million Bar. Mike, what's your favorite candy bar?
My favorite candy bar?
Yeah, well, it's almost coming up, Halloween month coming up. Days from now.
I like Twix, or I'll have Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, one or the other.
Gotcha. Back over to Cliff.
Okay, so as we discussed earlier, Eric Adams is dropping out of the New York City mayoral race. And that leaves Zohan Mandani, Andrew Cuomo, is the Republican Curtis Silwa, and there's an independent Joseph Hernandez, who I think will probably garner some votes, but not a lot.
Let's get a look at Joe.
It's Joe who?
Hernandez. You said Joe Hernandez, right?
Yeah. All right, so Eric Adams did not endorse any of the other candidates, but he did take a subtle swipe at both Mamdani and Cuomo, issuing a warning about local government being used to launder radical ideas and urging voters not to elect a mayor who's flip-flop on the issues.
I hope naked people don't come up here. There he is. Joe baby. Joe Hernandez, the guy running for mayor in New York City.
Yeah.
Would you vote for him? Not this guy. This guy. This guy looks better in my brain. What do you think, Cliff?
He looks what?
Better. This guy here, look at buddy, either you need to shave or grow a beard. Make up your mind. Just my take.
Yeah. I think if I was there, I'd vote for Curtis Silwa.
I'd still vote for Adams. Write him in. It's preliminary, right? It's a party election. Is a Republican running?
Yeah, Curtis Silwa.
I'll look up his picture. Maybe he's better looking.
So, of the remaining in the list, Mike, who would you vote for if you were in?
Well, I would not vote for Mondami. I really would have to hold my nose to vote for Cuomo. Silva, I'd have to vote for him probably, but he's not going to win.
He doesn't have a prayer. He won't take his hat off. What's with the hat?
So, I mean, that's why I'm not living in New York anymore. Because it's so messed up there. So,
a nice picture.
I mean, I guess I'd have to vote for Cuomo only because Mondami would be a huge disaster. Cuomo would not be great, but he wouldn't be as crazy as Mondami.
I think the red beret is part of his uniform from when he used to lead vigilantes in New York City.
Yeah, I think he's still involved with those groups, so that's why he always wears the beret. That's part of their thing for that group. They wear those berets.
It'll be interesting. So, Mike, do you think Congress will pass a budget or even an interim spending bill by tomorrow evening?
Fru's here.
No.
I told Fru to
No.
call your cell phone.
No, the Democrats are just insane on what they want. I've been doing some research on it. But you know what? The Democrats, in this case, they're just idiots. They really are. Because it plays right into Trump's hand because he wanted to fire more federal employees, and now they're giving it to him. Because there's no money to pay for him, he's not going to just lay them off or furlough them. His plan is to fire them and not rehire them. Just fire them because we don't have money to pay.
Hello, Fru. Go ahead, Mike.
They're just playing into what Trump wants. And so this is going to be a disaster for the Democrats because if they cause the shutdown to happen, and it probably will, because Schumer's so afraid of AOC running against them, is that the going to play right into Trump's hand. He's already sent emails out. The emails have gone out saying not to just furlough those people, is they want them fired. They're going to just fire people, cut down the size of the federal government employees.
Mike, I got a comment from the audience, and it says, "Good morning. When Eric Adams went against the machine, he was all done."
I couldn't understand you, John. You were all cutting out.
All right, Cliff, you want to read that one? Put it back up again.
I'm not sure I can read it. You have to make it a lot bigger for my eyes. Good morning. When Eric Adams went against the machine, he was all done. Hi, Eileen. So, I think that's true.
Thanks, Cliff.
So, hello, Fru.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning, Eileen.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I was awake on time and I fell back to sleep. Not on time.
So we're talking about, will Congress pass at least an interim spending bill to keep the government open? And Mike is not too optimistic.
Who is the speaker? Who are the leaders of the Congress? Who is the speaker of the Congress? Who holds the power this time?
Well,
and then who are we going to indirectly blame? Play the blame game again? That's the question.
Well,
some people will turn it around and think that the majority has power, but when they can face it squarely, we will always play politics, because that's what we do.
Well, the Senate is designed so that you need more than just a bare majority, and the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer from New York is saying that they won't pass the bill. The House passed the bill, sent it to the Senate, and it didn't pass.
But those are the excuses. We blame the minority. Even where the other, if let us flip the coin the other way around, the discussion will change. And that is how people are not looking at things fairly and squarely, but everyone is protecting politically their turf and trying to point the finger. But as you are pointing one finger as another, look at how many are quietly pointing back at you.
So what Chuck Schumer wants is $1 trillion plus up on various things. Let me see if I've got them. Obamacare subsidies, permanent funding for transgender surgeries for minors, and free health care for illegal immigrants. Two of those three, I think, are probably not all that advantageous for the American taxpayer.
Well, Cliff, we are here, we are the spokespeople. Those are the same old things. We'll put the name Obamacare. Those are cold words. And people are benefiting, even the people who are criticizing all these services. Majority are the very people who are benefiting it. When we come on social media, we fool those who are not educated and thinking that they are fools. The very people who are benefiting from these services that they are criticizing in public, behind closed doors, they are the ones who are tapping in. But when they come in front of the camera, they play the blame game. Americans are not fools anymore. Because no one controls social media like in those days that before you get news, you have to get it from CNN, you have to get it from Fox News, you have to get it from ABC. No, we have social media that people have concrete facts. They can pick up this phone and call people. I know the days of darkness are over. No matter what we individually can say.
John.
I think that the FCC has the right idea. Now's the time to take ABC, CBS, Fox, CNN, all these people who broadcast, and tell them, make it news, not opinion, or we're pulling your license. Because ABC News doesn't give news, it's opinionated stuff. Channel 4, 5, 7, 11, a slow news day, let's go empty the kennels today. You mean to tell me there's not one political thing in one small government thing you can tell us a story about? You want to go empty the kennels? I think that the news media should get a reckoning to do your job and get out of the opinion business. Thoughts, Clifford?
I think that the news business needs to be in the news business, absolutely. But I'd rather have the market do that than have the federal government meddling around. Because the chance of the federal government mucking it up is
So it's okay that a
high.
government agency can do whatever they want, they don't have to do their job anymore? They can just do whatever they please? Good thinking, Cliff. That's genius.
John,
That's what you just said.
that's not what I said.
Yes, it is.
So you're saying that the government agencies should run all the markets?
That's what you just said.
No, what I said was the market should be free.
If the customers, when it comes to, your agency is to do a certain thing, your job is to provide that to your customers.
Yeah, I don't think it's the job of the FCC to moderate the news.
Well, when I get pulled over with bald tires, why is that the government's business?
Because the possibility of you blowing one of those tires and swerving into me and hitting me.
And it's perfectly okay to do that in your book. Okay, I understand. I'm not going to argue with you.
Okay. So, what happens when we have a government shutdown? We still get our Social Security, we still get Medicare.
So say you.
Yeah. And I say it authoritatively.
All righty.
Air traffic control will continue to operate, the military will continue to operate, they just won't get paid.
They'll
But,
get paid eventually, correct?
yes, but all the bureaucrats and all those other offices are gonna get furloughed.
Well, why wouldn't you roll it out there, pay will be delayed? Why do you like they're not going to get paid? Why do you choose that way instead of it be delayed? I'm going to read these to the public. If you turn them off, eventually they'll go away and people will probably be happier. If you turn them, okay, it's the same one. So never mind. Back to you, Cliff.
Okay. So, because I experienced it in not getting paid, so
You got paid eventually.
eventually,
So why would you say they're going to have delayed pay? They are going to get paid.
because when your
Don't you
food
think
bill
that's,
comes due and you don't have the money, then you're in trouble because you don't have the money.
are they on delayed pay or no pay, Cliff? Both. Oh, okay.
Cliff, a question.
Go ahead.
ever since I've been growing up in this country, I hear that they are threatening to shut down the government, shut down. Has any government worker, has any government workers been punished because of shutdown? So all of those things, I mean, we should stop fooling American people. It's just pushing your pay a little bit down the line so that the politicians who are elected should have a reason to continue fooling American people. Because there is a lot to discuss, to talk about now than talking about shutdown. Has any elected official or any government workers pay been garnished because of shutdown? It's just pushing it few weeks down the line. But the politicians, they always fool, think that Americans are fools. This is the 21st century. And when you continue to do like that, let me tell you, the people will not really continue to take it that long.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Do you know some federal agencies are still not working from home? They don't feel safe to go into work?
Well,
In Boston.
I think the president's working on that, but he hasn't totally fixed it. So, Eileen, you've been silent. Are you asleep or just thinking?
No, it's called Now I'm Rushing.
Okie doke. So,
How is everybody?
hello, Fru, Mike, how are you?
Glad to hear your voice.
It's always good to hear your voice, Fru.
Thank you.
So,
Another year of government shutdown. Give me a break. Both sides spend billions on wasted taxpayer money. Now, panic time, horrible media. Thank you for your comment.
So President, and I think Mike brought this up, President Trump talked to the Office of Management and Budget, and they issued a memorandum spelling out how the administration will deal with a shutdown, and agencies must prepare for mass layoffs and employees working on programs not aligned with Trump priorities and are especially vulnerable. So we could see the size of the civil service reduced.
Well, what are these thousands of people that he's threatening to lay off forever?
I'm saying, what do you mean, what are they?
Who are they? What departments is he going to get rid of?
You hear me?
I don't know. I can barely hear you. Department of Education, maybe, as an example. What do they contribute to your well-being as a U.S. citizen? John?
I don't know.
Yeah. And neither does Donald Trump. So anyway, Fru circulated a talk by a fellow from Singapore, Kishore Kishore Mahbubani. Do you think I got that pretty close, Fru?
I think so. You mean the Prime Minister of Singapore?
Yeah. And he says that there's a great power shift in the greatest power shift in centuries in the end of Western dominance. It was a pretty short talk, and he said, with a reference to Canada, being nice is not enough. And he said that the last 80 years, since the end of World War II, it has seen improvement for everybody, and that's good, but things are changing. And he had a three-part talk, how the world has changed dramatically, where's the resistance coming from, and it's wiser for those resisting to avoid doing so. And his point on the shift is, he made the point that once England ruled India with 100,000 people, and now India has got a GDP 4 times that of the UK. And he said, and 45 years ago, the European economy was 10 times larger than China, but by 2050, the European economy will be half the size of China. So,
Well, Cliff, you can blab all you want about that. People prefer the pound over the Indian money. Going to read these two texts. Remember the 1979 movie, The Warriors? That's what New York is turning back into. Trash, filth, violence on the menu in Times Square. That's from Bart. And then a while back we talked about, Cliff asked me, did I eat my Rice Krispies? We talked about the Rice Krispie treats. Thank you, DW. And DW continues, couldn't agree with you more, Cliff. There are people born here who have difficulty paying for health insurance, and they want it free for illegals. Interesting angle. Thank you, DW.
all right. So, he makes the point that the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, claims that the voting structure reflects changes in global economics, but it doesn't. And the UN Security Council doesn't reflect the big powers with the 5 permanent members. The 5 permanent members in the UN Security Council are U.S., Russia, China, England, and France. And he asks, why shouldn't India have a seat on a permanent seat in the National Security Council? Or other nations? Why England and France, as they're diminishing? So, so he thinks that Europe needs to make way for others. Is that sort of the way you saw it, Fru?
Well, Cliff, the greatest weapon that has brought down the Western hegemony over the world is media. Because when you talk of Britain conquering the whole world and they used to say the sun will never set, it was just the media. Because BBC, all over Africa, India, Asia, they will sit around a little box, a radio, listening to BBC manipulate the minds of the people and making people believe that they are so mighty. But talking about that, the big question that I want to ask our panelists and everyone plus you, Cliff, the greatest innovation in the world that the Western world and the US has brought the world is democracy. Define what democracy is. And if the population of the world, 3/4 or 4/5 the population of the world, most of those areas do not have a seat at the United Nations. What is England, France, and are doing on the having a permanent power this thing? That shows that the UN was created because of Europe's problems. They had their tribal wars and brought these other people in, and then they called that war a world war. That world war did not originate in Africa. Africa had nothing to do with it. Asia had nothing. They were Europeans that they were fighting among themselves. If you know history, The First and Second World War, these were European wars. The term is World War because the Europeans cannot do anything without the other war, without the whole world coming in and fighting for them. You talk about the IMF, World Bank. These are institutions that were instituted to rebuild Europe, and they have continued. They would not help other countries rebuild in the same state that they did it to Europe. They would go there to milk this country and render them poor and dominant. And they think that it is speak for a whole continent of Africa that has almost about 1.4 billion. India alone is about 1.2, 1.3 billion. China, you name it, Brazil and Russia. I mean, you cannot put people in a cage and thinking that what worked 100 years ago is going to work now. No. The Europe should wake up.
Yep, that's what he said. I don't think we fully understand how that's going to sort out.
We asked Fru to hang up and call you back so we don't drop him out. He drops out.
Fru, you dropped out for a second there. Could you hang up and then call back and I'll put you back in? And I'll try and ask Mike to fill in the time while you're doing that.
Well, good.
Hello, Mike.
Yep. Yeah, I was waiting for Fru to finish.
Oh, okay.
Thing with UN Security Council. I listened to that whole video you sent me and did some other reading, but this was formed at the end of World War II because those were the powers then. India may have a large economy, but that doesn't mean it has the influence that the other countries have in the world. And right now, the Western, between Russia, China, the UK, the US, and, the people on the Permanent Security Council, they have the influence. That could happen in the future with India, but right now, yes, they got a big economy, but they don't have the political influence. And that's really what's going on is they're not, as far as Europe goes, that's the United Kingdom, that's England. They're the ones who have the influence for Europe, the U.S. for North America, then you have Russia and China. And I'm trying to think, who's the fifth one, Cliff? I got France.
It's Russia, China, U.S., France, and...
France, yeah. Yeah, France, I don't know why France is on there, to be quite honest, because I don't think they really had any influence after World War II. They got run over by the Germans. I mean, I don't know why they're on there. If any of the ones should be taken off it, I would take France off it before I take the England, the United Kingdom off it. But right now, it has to do with influence more than economy. If they're going to change somebody, so that's how I'm looking at it. India, they've got a big economy, they've got a lot of people, but as far as influence in the world, I don't think they have enough influence yet to be making the decisions. But if anything that I take off the UN Security Council, I'd take France off before I take off the United Kingdom.
Well, Mike, I think I agree with you, but that equally goes with the Western thinking. England is there. The population of France is by far bigger than that of England. England is hanging in there because of what they call the Commonwealth, because they rely on these countries. When you talk of influence, what did you mean influence? Is it gunboat diplomacy? 30 years ago, they did not think that China has influence. But look at it today, and this other economy, the only country in Europe that I think that could have influence is Germany because of the economic side and everything. France is, if you look at what has just gone on in France now, they booted the prime minister up. It's not just within France, it's because Africa is rising and kicking the French out of Africa. because these European nations, they depend on the third world. They are using the third world to boost their economy. And that is the main reason why they don't want Africa. Anyone who talks thinks that Africa is still in the ancient ages. And that's what the Europeans have in their mind, that they can define for Africa. Because they think that Africa is just a place that they can go there for safari. They can go there and cause wars and cause all these jihadis so that people can define among themselves, on the international stage and define Africa as a war-torn place when they are extracting the minerals and taking it away. But when those African nations start kicking France out, you see the stability coming in. Then you ask yourself, why upon all these years that these people have been there, that they are bringing peace? Instead of bringing peace, the wars have always multiplied. But that's exactly what I'm saying, that you fool some people some of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Gen Zs have media in their hands. They don't listen to the manipulation of the mainstream media.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you about Germany for their economy. I mean, the reason all this was set up is because of the current powers on the UN Security Council, is because Germany was involved with 2 of the world wars. But I think things have changed quite a bit now. I agree with you as far as Germany having influence and economy and power. I'd put them in. If you were going to replace France with another European country, I would put Germany in there. And I also agree with you as far as Africa goes. I mean, I think that they deserve some kind of influence on the UN Security Council. Unfortunately, because of some of the other things you've said, is a lot of the countries in Africa have not been stable. So that's not helping them out. But I think what you're saying about France being kicked out of Africa, that could make their countries much more stable, and that would give them more influence and more of a right to have a seat at the table.
I agree with you. Not only France, you have the Portuguese, you have the Spanish, you have the British, even you have us there. Why is everyone going there? And then you mention one thing, that the instability in Africa. Do you believe that the instability in Africa is as a result of these people scrambling into Africa to extract the resources that are sustaining their economy? Do you think a stronger and bigger Africa or Latin America is good for Europe? No.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that. I think if Africa can show they've got more stable countries and they have more stable economies, which I think they're working on, as you said earlier, I believe that they should have a bigger seat at the table as far as that is concerned. But I was just saying that if you were going to replace France with another European country, I would put Germany in there. But, we're going to wait and see what happens, but I think things are changing. Again, the Permanent Security Council was set up at the end of World War II because of what other countries had done. So that's why Germany obviously wasn't put on there. And at the time, Europe had more influence. But I believe Africa banding together and having more stable political environment and economies, I think that they're going to need a seat at the table also. And it's not, as you said, it's not just France that they're kicking out. I mean, the other countries they're kicking out too, and trying to run their own country. So if they can show stability and consistency, I think they need more of a seat at the table.
I totally agree with you, because how can show stability? Libya was stable. What happened to Libya? The stable countries in Africa, the whole of Europe, they will come and use the Security Council to go and destabilize it. That is what these nations are saying, that the Security Council has to change, or else they are going to move out, or else it will go the way that the League of Nations went, because they should not use the Security Council as a bully and intimidating them. 30 years ago, China, in that discussion, Cliff, he also mentioned that what awoken China was when during President Clinton, they saw an American carrier, a sea, appear on the sea of India, on China. So that awoken them. Quietly, they started building their own navy. And that if they don't do anything, in fact, they will not be protected. So if you see all these aggressive measures that the West is doing, you are awakening a sleeping giant quietly and knowing that they will come up to counteract whatever you are doing now. And instead of building a peaceful future that we can coexist, you are sowing the seed that people will, when once they get power, they will like to pay retribution.
Okay, we've got a comment from the audience, John.
I got a comment that I got some populations I want to show as well. The only difference is all the other countries around the world are just a little bit more corrupt than the U.S., not by much, just enough to satisfy Israel. Okay, so China, population in China is 1.4 billion people. Population in merry old England is 69 million. Population in France, 68 million. If they can keep their act together, the population in Africa is 1.5 billion.
Yes.
And the good old US of A is 340 million. And last but not least, demanding a lot more respect than they get, India. 1.4 billion people live in India. Back over to you, Cliff.
Okay. So that, so Fru's leaving in about 5 minutes, so let's have a quick discussion. A bunch of nations have recognized Palestine as an individual state, but I'm not sure what difference it makes. There was a 22 September UN conference. You got some thoughts on this, Fru?
Well, but just the way that you framed it, you say a bunch of nations. I think you would have said that few nations did not recognize, only about 4 nations out of the whole world. That is huge thing that you should present it that way. Because when you say a bunch of nations, the whole of Africa but one country, and that one country is Cameroon. The whole of Asia, even France, even Britain, they raised the flag of Palestine. Everything starts with symbolism. That symbolism is changing the minds. So whether you can define it, whether how it is, but everything starts with the mind changing. And it shows that the wind of change cannot be bullied, it cannot be stopped. No matter how you may see it, and no matter how you may disagree, but that was just monumental. It's like an eruption of Mount Everest. For that to happen and for France to stand there and Britain raising that flag up, whether you spin it which way, it cannot be changed. But the minds of the people cannot go back at what was a few years ago.
Is Eileen going to stay?
I don't know. Yeah, Eileen will be on the phone. How will this end the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas?
Well, I don't know. It's just now it's Israel and the whole world, not Hamas. Because by the whole world standing and doing that, they are saying that whatever narrative that has been coming up, people don't buy it.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that Hamas is winning the information war. They're doing a brilliant job. But
if they were winning, that's how you clip. How many countries did not endorse? Just go by that list. How many countries do you know that did not go with the whole world? If you go by that, then you see the magnitude of that decision.
yeah, I agree.
Name me which countries, if you are equally paying attention and following what was going on at the UN without Iraq.
U.S., Israel, Cameroon, maybe a couple of others.
And then the whole world, and those are tiny, the population of Cameroon is 30 million. In a continent that someone has already taken 1.5 billion.
Okay, but how does this bring us a step closer to peace?
It is a step, a baby step, but a step in the right direction.
Mike, you got a thought?
Well, I just, it might be a baby step, but, until people are willing to agree on how they're going to fix this, I don't see an easy solution. So, I understand what Fru is saying, but we still, until you can get people together and agree, we're going to still have issues.
Okay, on that note, we're going to go to break, and we'll be back. Thank you.
We still, until you can get people together and agree, we're going to still have issues.
Okay, on that note, we're going to go to break.
Well, Cliff will introduce you and I'll know.
Well, this is great. John meant to erase Fru's name because Fru's gone to work, and he instead erased Jose Cervantes' name.
I erased Jose about half an hour ago because I thought he was coming at 6.
So welcome to City Life Show. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. Eileen Delrossi is phoning it in. She has to take her son to school. It's that time of year again. We have Mike Smith down in Florida, and here with me we have Jose Cervantes, a former candidate for city council and a future candidate.
We'll see. One day at a time. But yeah, Hunger and Homeless Commission.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Oh, good morning, Jose.
No,
How you doing, Eileen?
I'm a lurker in the Hunger Homeless Commission. When the new mayor came in, he picked someone else to be the mayor's rep, and I didn't get around to applying to be a regular member. And I'm looking forward to talking about that again, Hunger Homeless.
Can I talk with you about that before we get there?
No. So, Eileen, there's been some talk about the president saying that Tylenol may be a contributing factor to autism. Have you been following that?
Yeah, that's been out there for a long time, actually, Cliff. There's been claims against that, I want to say, for the past 4 years, maybe. I have a hard time chewing that one down, though, because I believe that autism has existed throughout all time, and it's more diagnosed. It's more prominently diagnosed now, and they've divided into level 1, level 2, level 3, and now people, like, there's different ends of the spectrum, obviously, but does Tylenol have a part of it? I don't know.
So the big cheese down in Cambridge at the Harvard Medical says that he thinks there's a correlation. But yeah, we've seen more diagnosis, but you know, what the heck? Probably John and I are suffering from autism or maybe ADHD. What do you think?
Well, yeah, all of this makes me want to go get a neuropsych on myself done, and I'll share it with the City Life show. It should be interesting.
When I started college, because I didn't enroll obviously with the election, a couple of my professors were actually like claimed that, you know, by today's standards, that just because of the way I process things and things like that, that I would be on the spectrum, which kind of was a little eye opener, like,
Yeah.
you know, but that's the thing nowadays. I mean, like you said, it's so much more. When I was growing up, you barely heard about it. You know, and it wasn't.
Right, and for a long time also, Jose, I'm sorry, but it wasn't the autism spectrum. It was called PDD-NOS spectrum, and it was a huge umbrella spectrum that really included everything. It was persuasive developmental disordered disability, not otherwise specified. So now, where they have it classified autism level 1, autism level 2, autism level 3, maybe on the spectrum would be, you know, rigidity and memory and attentional issues, so forth. Like, so that all came from the persuasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified. You know, because I remember when I first started in the field of special education, we would call it a very broad spectrum, right? And over time, it's narrowed down into the autism spectrum in level 1, level 2, level 3.
So there's different levels now. It's almost more easier to identify because you can catch it on the smaller scale, you can say, as opposed to it having to be the extreme.
So, Eileen, do people outgrow this at some point, find themselves coping in a fairly normal manner?
So, well, look at that movie with Temple Grandin. Echo Me, I believe is the name of it. I don't think, it's not a blood test, and you can't get treated for it. They can't tell if you have it by a blood test. It's criteria from a doctor's office, and if the child meets these certain criteria. And I would say today's day and age is really difficult because of the social media, the whole immediate gratification with the iPads and everything. So what's really causing it, right? And maybe that's why we're seeing more of it. You don't really get over it or cure it. You learn strategies throughout your life to be able to cope with it and to know what your triggers are and what distracts you or what kind of the sensitivity to you that sets your body off. So it's all about learning, and I always say, like, life is truly always being a student and a lifelong lesson. None of us really have it licked. We always have new things to learn, and it's the same thing. You have to work hard with that, when you have a diagnosis such as that, because some people have more rigidity than others, which make it more difficult for them. I think that anybody can overcome whatever they want as long as they have the support at home and they have the ability to accept new coping strategies to kind of get through it, because we always need coping strategies throughout our life, no matter if you have a diagnosis or not. We constantly have to shift and change, figure it out.
Okay, we've got a text.
Okay, 2 messages from the audience. Did Mike watch the Ryder Cup, or did he think his fellow New Yorkers, what did he think of his fellow New Yorkers' behavior? Only takes a few to make a lot look bad. And then furthermore, is the spectrum a rainbow? It has different colors. Back over to you, Cliff, and see if, Mike, you want to respond? Mike's making himself a
You're
copy.
talking about with the autism.
No, the Ryder Cup.
Oh, the Ryder Cup. I'm sorry. I didn't hear everything. So the Ryder Cup. Well, I watched a lot of it. The Americans sucked at putting until the last day when they played one-on-one. That's what cost them the Ryder Cup. Is the Europeans played much better on the saying drive for show, putt for dough. Any golfer knows that. Obviously, the Europeans were better at putting. The Americans over Friday and Saturday had plenty of opportunities to go ahead or win their matches, and they missed their putts, and that's what cost them. I mean, I'm literally shocked that they did as well as they did on Sunday, coming back the way they did. But again, in the late matches, the one that when Lowry tied it up, they got the half point, they split. The Americans had a chance to close it out in that match, and he couldn't make the putt to close it out. So again, the Europeans deserved to win. They played better. Hopefully next time the Americans will do better, but they're playing in Europe next time. So we'll see what happens.
Would the Ryder Cup have done better if they'd taken Trump and his granddaughter, what's her name, Kia? If they'd taken them onto the team?
Well, right now the Ryder Cup is just for the men, so she wouldn't be able to be on the team. So she's quite a promising golfer, from what I understand. I was impressed. Trump found time to come there. I mean, he's from New York, obviously, so that was great, and that kind of pumped people up. But it comes down that the Americans just couldn't, finish it off when they had opportunities to do it. And we'll see what happens. The Junior Ryder Cup, the Americans did much better as far as that went. But as far as the Ryder Cup, I mean, they had good players from the American side. They just couldn't make the putts. And, I mean, look at Scotty Scheffler, number 1 in the world. I mean, how many... And, he lost all those matches on the teams he played on. Just couldn't make the shots when you needed them. It happens. Golf is a very frustrating game. I mean, I started playing about 5-6 years ago, and, every time I go there, just learning. I mean, the pros, when I watch them for what they can do, it's quite amazing considering how hard golf is. I mean, when people used to say golf is not a sport, they obviously have not played golf because it's very hard and it takes a lot of focus and concentration and training.
Okay, comments from the audience, both from Jay if President Biden made a second term, then I'm pretty sure we would have increased in population. Second one, maybe it's because we've introduced devices into kids' lives. Kids don't have to put in the time looking things up, engaged. Thank you, Jay.
Okay. So Jose, is in the Hispanic community, is golf a thing or not?
No, not really. It's really not, which it's a shame because I tried going to the driving range a couple times and I want to learn. I already told Francisco Maldonado he needs to take me out to the golf course a couple of times because it's fun, you know. I played it on my PlayStation when I was a kid. That was about it, you know.
No.
But I think Francisco's one of the very few Latinos that I know that actually loves playing golf and is a member of so we'll see what happens. Hopefully by this time next year, I'll be saying, I'm out there playing golf all the time. You gotta change that dynamic.
John, are you a golf player?
Only miniature golf a few times.
Now that's the
Okay.
stuff right there. I love me some miniature golf. That's fun. And the question up there about
How about you, Cliff?
No. I've played golf a couple of times, but I can't.
My wife took lessons, and just not her cup of tea either.
I'm surprised there wasn't a joke in there about Cliff on his horse playing polo or something. You always.
I do like the golf cart. Golf cart's nice.
Those are fun.
Very utilitarian vehicle.
That's for sure.
We have a little golf cart we use as a pickup truck on the property. It's nice. Use it in parades too. It's cool.
Somebody mentioned about the devices, pretty much bringing down the attention span. But anytime somebody brings something like that up, when I was a kid, when I was young, we didn't really have gaming systems and stuff like that. And I was growing up, we started with the PlayStations and stuff like that, and then the cell phones. So I'm at that age where I seen that progression. But a lot of it too, you got to ask yourself, the placebo effect, the more you talk about something, specific, like, when we were growing up, because I grew up in that older generation just a little bit, it was a kid being hyper. Calm down, relax. So now it's like, it's ADHD, so it's okay for the kid to be hyper. How much of it is actually, that placebo effect, and how much of it is actually, kind of enabling, you can say, where it's like, it's because you have this, so you don't have to pay attention. It's okay because you have this, you don't have to sit still. I mean, we got to make sure we explore.
Well, we
every
have
option.
to put, reminds me of the story, I remember one time, a long time ago, I quit smoking. And I told my wife, look, I'm going to be wicked crabby, cranky, I quit smoking. And she says, then don't come home. Either you come home like yourself, but don't come home crabby, cranky. No, I'm not putting up with that. So I learned a lesson real quick. Happy wife, and for a cranky kid, straighten the kid out. It's not okay to yell and scream.
I mean, and that doesn't apply to everybody, so I don't want to get
It
backlash.
certainly does.
But
Okay,
no.
have you flown much?
No.
Okay, have you been on a bus much?
Yeah.
Okay, what happens when a kid starts screaming out of his mind?
No.
They stop it.
Yeah.
Or maybe they let it go on your bus. What do they do with the screaming kid?
No, I mean, it depends who the parent is. If anything, you see a quick little, if it was my mom, you see a quick little pinch that nobody sees, and like, you want another one? You better quiet down, boy, So it depends, like you said. I mean, there's parents that just allow
It
to
shouldn't just be
continue.
tolerated. Let the kid,
No.
like we see videos of the kid stamping his feet on the grocery store floor because he can't get a comic book. Too bad. Welcome to America.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we had a generation that was raised very strict, and then they were a lot more lenient on their kids, making up for their own insecurities. And unfortunately, I think my generation falls under that purview where, the parent didn't want to scream, the parent didn't want to do this, you know. But you shouldn't have to beat your kid or yell at your kid. I'm not justifying that, but there's other ways to discipline a child that don't involve that extreme, you know. But no, I think to a degree you're right, where we made it's frowned upon to be strict on your
How do
kids.
you feel about the president's new idea that if you get an EBT card, you have to earn the money? Got to do something for the state?
Well, I mean, I think I said this last time towards the end of the program when we were here, where there is a decent amount of people out there that it's a way of life, you know, getting on the EBT card, getting on the Section 8, getting on that subsidized housing hamster wheel, where that's their equivalent of getting a degree, or, you know, getting a house. You don't need to get a house when once you get that housing apartment, that can get passed down from generation to generation, you know, so.
I didn't hear an answer, but that's okay. Our fathers and mothers kept us in line. Every commercial on TV have the kids running the household. Parenting has definitely changed. Good point, Jay.
Okay.
Cliff, how do you feel about working for welfare?
I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, what I said wasn't disagreeing. It was pointing out the fact that, yeah, there's a lot of people, especially people, you know, from my age group that are capable of working, and instead they just get on that EBT card, that SSI, or that
And the question is, how do you feel about them having to have to earn it?
put work limits where you can get food stamps, but you need to work, you know, 30 hours a week, 20 hours a week, whatever it is, where you need to earn it. I mean, if you're perfectly capable of working, there's no reason for you not to be working.
That'll get the homeless off the street, won't it? Yeah, it will.
That's,
No EBT card. If you dry up that EBT card, Cliff, they'll snap to it real quick.
that's a very, you know, you brought that up. Yesterday I called Canada. I called Canada because you guys know the whole safe injection sites has been a hot button issue here.
Yeah?
For,
Well, somebody told me like they had 53,000 people went to the shoot 'em up legal gallery in California and only 35 signed up for care.
I mean, there's 39 sites in Canada. I called one of them and had a conversation with them because we keep talking about it, but how many people have actually called one of these places or visited one of these places and see how it operates? Just like I said to somebody last week. So you keep telling us what homeless and people that are addicted to drugs need. How many of them have you spoken to? You know, are you just pulling this data out of thin air? And, you know, the guy told me pretty much the actual place is ran by nonprofits. And they have 13 booths. And people go in there, you know, they can test the drugs if you want them to, and you can hang around, do your thing, and they have different places where you hang around and watch TV, or you leave and they provide services. He said that, I asked him, how successful do you think it is? Have you seen a drastic change in the community? And, you know, he said, little bit, you know, but, so now you want to put a center here, and I'm not saying I'm for it or against it, but where is it going to be? Are you going to put it in the Highlands, in Belvedere?
I don't want it here.
No.
It's not a successful thing. It's a waste of money. I don't want it here. End of story.
You know, where they're probably going to want to put it is in the
Hasn't
acre.
Mass and Class, haven't they tried the safe injection sites, and how has that worked out for them in Boston?
No, they just, the city council just approved them. So, I mean, we have no, everybody keeps saying follow the data. Most of the data you find is, you know, 2017, 2019 was the earliest I found. And, you know, a few people write stuff. One of the articles I read that was more recent, it said it interviewed 39 people. That is not enough to really be considered, you know, data that holds water. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where people are arguing for arguing's sake. So why don't we start having a conversation of increasing mental health, increasing that whole getting people into a bed right after they leave rehab, things like that. I think that's a bigger fight to have. I think that's more reasonable.
Well, you're sort of skirting on the side of idea that I have, and I mentioned this to Dan O'Connor, that maybe we should drop the term homelessness because it's obscuring the real issues, and therefore it's getting in the way of us addressing the real issues. We say it's homelessness. We need to help the homeless, but the homeless are made up of the drug addicts, the people that are selling the drugs, alcoholics, the mentally ill.
Well, Cliff, you know that the government subsidizes all these things, correct?
That's the thing.
Yeah,
We should stop subsidizing this.
and not just the government.
Well,
The
that's-
people that are out panhandling, I've heard it said they clear as much as $30,000 a year. Is
And
it
then
not?
we have the nonprofits who are out there saying that they're helping them, and they're taking advantage of our population to be able to be open as a nonprofit in the city.
Yeah, I brought
So-
that up before where people say we're a dumping ground, but if we're a dumping ground, we're a dumping ground because there's these all these organizations getting money to provide services, and so people come here. If you build it, they'll come, and then when they come here, where are the services being provided? You know,
They can't hold it together, and they can't offer the wraparound customer services. So then we have what we have now, which is, but everyone's getting a piece of the pie off of all of this, except the people who live here aren't involved in a nonprofit or government, and are just trying to raise their kids, and it's exposing all of that to them, which is sad because when I grew up in Lowell, I was not exposed to this.
And that's the thing, since, post-COVID, we have become a non-profit city, where most of the money coming in from the State House and everything like that is going to nonprofits. I mean, if they're providing the services, kudos to you. There's plenty of nonprofits out there that are doing their job and are doing it well, and, if anything, we need to get them more money, but there's plenty of nonprofits out there that I see it all the time. We're like, oh, this person awarded, the state got them an award from the State House for $25,000 to do this. And I'm like, I was just there. I was at that event. There wasn't nearly that many people there. There wasn't, nonprofits has become a very lucrative business. And unfortunately, they make it off of the people that disadvantage, whether it's the unhoused, whether it's the people that are at a 32% poverty rating, like the people in my district, things like that. But it's going unchecked. Who's calling it out?
Well, 20 years ago, Jack Mitchell said that poverty is big business in Lowell.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No, we got to change that, because if we're not here to help the people, then you know what? See you later. I've been saying that since the day you guys met me, haven't I? Accountability, especially when you're paying with taxpayers' money.
So I want to grab Eileen's attention. Eileen, you want to talk about Anthony's fundraiser? I'm going to do the announcements.
Oh, yes. So Anthony's friend from school, Graham, struggled with cancer and still has lots of checkups and so forth at Dana-Farber. And this weekend is the Jimmy Fund Walk. And the Jimmy Fund Dana-Farber, he's correcting me, walk. And we're just trying to raise at least up to $200 for Graham. He's a great kid, so Anthony can walk with him on Sunday. And I'm last minute Annie, and that's why. So if anybody can donate, Anthony and I would greatly appreciate.
So how does one get to this? Just go to Google Jimmy Fund Walk. How do we get to this link?
I have it posted on my Facebook.
Okay.
You have it posted, or you have the direct Jimmy Fund link, and I don't know, I couldn't figure it out. I just had Anthony send it.
Okay. So go to Eileen's Facebook page and help Anthony reach his goal of $200.
I'll share it on my page when we're done here too.
So I got a few
Thank you
announcements I'm gonna
very
make
much.
here. Comment from the audience, I'm in my 50s with a dad still alive, he still yells at me. Good thinking. I agree, my father yelled at me until he died too. Come on, these things are a little slow today opening up. Okay. Danny Rourke's having a party, and it's gonna be at the Athenian Corner, October 9th. Donations start at $20 and go up. Danny Rourke, the mayor of Lowell, good guy, and hope to see you down at his party on October 9th. Moving right along here, I'll tell you, these things are really doing a great job for me today. Monday is not a good day. That should do it. Boy, oh boy, we are stuck today. The window, that takes care of that guy. Okay. Lowell, the police department, is having a Citizens Police Academy, and it's going to begin October 8th, and it's at nighttime, Wednesdays, evenings from 6 to 9 p.m. Learn all about the police department. If you're interested in learning more about the police department, there's a place you can register and take your fancy phone out of your pocket, walk over to your screen, and take a picture of this guy right down here. There's a wicked long address there, and go to that website and you can learn more about what's going on at the Lowell Police Department and how they operate. From the history, the traffic enforcement, about the dog, all kinds of good stuff to learn about the Lowell Police Department. Thank you, Lowell Police, for putting on that program. Sidney Lang, he's having a party October 8th, Wednesday, October 8th, at Charlie's Pub. Charlie's Pub is at 14 Cabot Street in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts. And he's got 2 QR codes. If you take your fancy phone out of your pocket, put it in camera mode, and you direct the camera to here to bring you to a donation page. And if you direct the camera here, bring it to his website. So that's Sidney Lang, running for City Council, District 7. And he's having his party Wednesday, October 8th, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at Charlie's Pub at number 14 Cabot Street. Neighborhood meetings. You live in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts. The Lowell Police puts this out once a month. Coming up October 6th, South Lowell neighborhood meeting, but you can see whatever section of town you live in, they are listed there, and I don't know why the Belvedere Neighborhood Association and the Coalition for a Better Acre have secret locations that they meet at, but they should look to find a permanent spot. But anyway, the first one to come up is South Lowell Neighborhood Group, and they're going to meet October 6th at the Benjamin Butler School. Same day, Centerville Neighborhood Association, October 6th at the Polish National Home Association. And those are the next 2 that are coming up. And just to conclude with the announcements, I got 3 more over here, and then we'll be done. No, sorry, 4. Coming at the speed of government, okay. Rita Mercy is having a party. She's having a party October 3rd, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Mount Pleasant Country Club. My suggestion to you is come hungry. She always has a ton of food. So consider coming hungry to Rita's party. $10 to get in. Hope to see you there. Again, October 3rd, 6 to 9 p.m. Committee to re-elect Rita Mercy, a councilor at large. She's having a party at Mount Pleasant Country Club up on the Highlands, 141 Stable Street. The Bridge Club. The Bridge Club's having their annual fundraiser, and that's coming up pretty soon, Thursday, October 9th. Starts at 6 p.m., $125 a person. They're honoring Karen Frederick that day, and Karen Frederick, great gal. She's the one who grew CTI to help thousands of people every year. They got a QR, the Bridge Club has a QR code top right-hand corner. Take a picture of this guy with your phone, brings you to a page. You can buy a ticket, make a donation. Good people down there. Moving right along, Eric Gitchie is having a party Thursday, October 16th. I'll shrink this down a little bit so you can see the whole thing. Okay, campaign, oh, give me a go. Campaign fundraiser Thursday, October 16th, hosted by Ryan Ferrara. Eric Gitch's party, he's running for city councilor at large. Party's going to be at the Wappin West downtown Lowell, 197 Market Street. Donations start at $25 and go up. Party starts at 5:30. Hope to see you down there. And last one, Tewksbury. The exceptional breakfast coming up the end of October, October 26th. This is a breakfast you want to go and be hungry at. It's a fantastic event. If they don't care where you live. You can live in Timbuktu. They don't care how old you are. Everybody's welcome to go to this. It's at the Tewksbury Senior Center. The Tewksbury Senior Center has a huge parking lot behind their building. So when you get out of the Tewksbury Senior Center, you'll say, where do I park? They got room for a ton of cars behind their building. So just drive in, plenty of room. Hope to see you out there for breakfast. Back over to you, Cliff. Thank you for your patience.
Wednesday, Hunger Homeless Commission meets online from noon to 1:30. And you can get the Zoom information by going to the Lowell City website for Hunger Homeless. It'll be part of the agenda, or you can contact me or Jose.
I'll be posting the link on my Facebook because it should be my first meeting. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Get a lay of the land, see what's going on over there, and see how we can contribute.
So, are we still getting ripples in the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk?
Yep. People are blaming the Israelis for that.
Some people.
Well, you've heard that, correct?
Yeah, Michael Yon said that. I mean, in the past, I've put a lot of faith in what Michael Yon says. This time, not so much. Mike, do you have any thoughts on this?
So you're talking about with Charlie Kirk, what's going on with that still?
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. Well, I know that they've had a tremendous amount of applications for new chapters, not only in college but high school. They had they're continuing the tour, and yeah, there's still people out there making comments. I can't tell you, I feel kind of embarrassed in some ways. There's people we know down here in Florida that spend time at the community where we are. Some are snowbirds, some live here full time. And some of the comments we've seen on Facebook that Kathy's seen that they're making concerning Charlie Kirk is just unbelievable. I don't know if these people are unhappy or miserable in their lives. They can't understand anything. Just because you don't agree with what he was talking about does not mean that he deserved to die or that you should hate that person just because they think differently. I mean, I really think, and I'm not a real religious person, even though I went to 12 years of Catholic school, but I really think some of these people do not want people to believe in God and religion, and I think that they're just unhappy. These people that are shooting and going after Charlie Kirk or people like him, they're just unhappy in their lives. I mean, whether you like it or not, Kirk believed in faith, family, and patriotism for the country. You go to other people's countries and they live in it, and they believe in their country and they believe in faith, whatever religion they believe in, family. And that's one of the big reasons why Trump won this last election, because people were tired of being chastised because they believe in family and their faith. And this thing with Kirk is going to just boomerang and not be good for the radical left or at the next election if they continue doubling down on this. Because a lot of people are just tired of this political violence. It's just not good.
Yeah, we had one over the weekend, a Mormon church up, I think, in Michigan. Some guy ran his car in and started shooting. Killed a couple of people, torched the church. I saw a picture. Looked like a pretty good fire. Bunch of wounded, not very good. Go ahead, John.
There was another one too where some guy with PTSD went and shot up from a boat, shot up a fishing dock where there were people partying inside the building. Didn't get a lot of coverage. Okay, 2 comments from the audience. Most studies say smoking weed leads to harder drugs. So why is the state selling weed? For money.
Yeah.
Above all, we learned from Moses, people worship gold over everything. Second comment, hi everyone, this is from Jeannie Balkus, thank you Jeannie. Hi everybody, you're raising a great son there, Eileen. I definitely will donate to your son's, Anthony's fundraiser for his friend. Thank you, Jeannie Balkus. Back over to you, Cliff.
Okay, Jose, you got a thought? What? Go ahead, Eileen.
No, well, I wanted to say thank you to Jeannie for that. I greatly appreciate it, as does Anthony. And with the whole Charlie Kirk thing, I can't tell you, like, how divided this whole country, I mean, you obviously know, never mind, I can't tell you, but, yeah, I feel like it goes back to that crying kid on the bus and a mother allowing it or not. Today's society, everybody has to have a solution to a problem right away, and, you know, that was their solution, that killer's solution to Charlie Kirk was to just get rid of him. And nobody has the sustenance inside of them to realize, the younger generation, to realize it's not always going to be their way. They're not always going to get their way. And they have to be uncomfortable with other people and their opinion. And some people are uncomfortable with their opinion. On the flip side, though, you know, everything with Charlie Kirk has been overall peaceful, and it's changed a lot of people for the better, learning about, I mean, I know I've taken time out to learn more about Charlie Kirk and his mission and Erica Kirk, and it's really beautiful, and it's even helped me to go back to church and to realize, like, without higher power, without my belief and my faith, like, life isn't as strong as it is, or meaningful, right? Because these mostly people who are agnostic, and they're dividing our country because they think they all have the answer is to just get rid of a person, which is no answer. That's not how things are done. It's not, we're not in a Call of Duty game. This life is not violent. Like, it shouldn't be. People work hard to have peaceful lives here. And what they're doing is throwing everything that works for in our country back so far with the way that they, you know, a car running into a building, a church building, you know, killing Charlie Kirk, you know, all these school shootings, everything. That you can be mad, but be mad and figure it out and make life better for yourself and the world. Do something positive. Be a Jose and run for city council. Take your experiences that weren't so great and make it for the better. Instead of just saying, I have one solution here and I'm going to get rid of it. And that's just not a solution to anything. And I think it just goes back to all the, it's okay, you want a hug in school? It's okay if you just stab somebody with a pencil close to the eye. That's okay. They must have been aggravating you. You know, it starts real young, and now we're seeing the repercussions of all of this warm, fuzzy, no consequences.
I agree that we need to do better. We need to stop.
How do we do better?
It starts at home, like I've said a million times.
Where's parents' school?
Well, I think that parents aren't home. But, you know, I just seen a study recently that they're actually advocating for men to step up because there's been they did a bunch of studies where little boys aren't growing up knowing what it is to be a man. So they're actually put, before, and they brought up in the study, they're like, before you had the boys club, you
So
had
how
the
do we fix it?
YMCA. We got to step up. Like I said, my generation, we grew up with a deficit. We grew up with you were raised by a baby boomer that was tough, strict, this and that, the greatest generation. So now you're trying to overcompensate by, like Eileen said, you stabbed somebody, it's their fault for suspending you. No, we need to stop enabling people, and at the same token too, obviously it's terrible. You never take somebody's life unless your family is an immediate threat. The thought of doing that should never cross your mind. But to also put a whole half of the country into a bubble because of it, aren't you creating divide too? It was one individual, one person, and yes, it's increasing, and we need to cut that crap out. What are you doing? If you have a problem with somebody, then stand in front of them and use the 2 weapons God gave you. And if the thought of doing that scares you, sit your butt down. I mean, why pick up a gun? That's being a coward, But we need more accountability.
You shouldn't have to use your hands, you should be able to use your mouth.
That too,
respectfully,
absolutely.
when the church covered up the abuse for decades, why would anyone trust the church? Talk about putting the goal before the people. I don't want this guy in charge on Judgment Day, that's for sure. He sounds like a low politician. You kicked sand on my blanket in 1955.
You can't.
That's the city councilor in Lowell. You kicked sand on my back in 1955, and I'm not gonna let it go. You owe me.
Yeah, see, that's absurd.
That's
that
Lowell
mentality.
city councilor talk.
That mentality is
I owe you a
just
phone
ridiculous.
call.
So, John,
Talk
to answer
about
your
that.
question, for 10,000 years, parent school has been in the home.
And now the parents aren't at home.
That's a problem.
So how do we fix it?
I'm never home and I still feel
I don't know how we fix it. I think hard about it because one of the things that is causing us problems in Lowell, economic problems, social problems, is individuals not being willing to step up and take responsibility and do their job, get a job, be taxpayers, and be good citizens. I think that's part of the problem with schools, which is my next topic, is people not taking responsibility. So David Burge, who blogs as the Iowa Hawk, wrote, "We spent 30-plus years and infinite money on injecting fashionable nonsense into school curricula based on nothing but the vibes of the ed school professionate and the incontrovertible empirical evidence from Mississippi proves what a total waste all of it was." So what they're talking about is Mississippi, which used to have the worst school system in the country. They're up there, I think, like number 4 for reading at 4th grade and 8th grade. Isn't that right, Eileen?
That's a conversation, but I'll try to bring it up with Cliff.
Yes, Mississippi is, I believe you're right, Cliff, the 4th. But if you also look at the student to teacher ratio, it's much lower than it is in inner cities, like ours. But Mississippi is, yeah, there's a lot unchanged in the Midwest.
Yeah. So, and in Mississippi, it doesn't matter, Caucasians, blacks, everybody's doing better on reading and math because they've gone back to the basics.
Right, and I mean that's what we essentially need to do is go back to basics because they've tried to make it so smart that it's become so stupid and kids aren't learning. we're not as wicked smart as we seem. We're screwing kids over thinking we're wicked smart. Yeah, wicked smart here. And having the best schools, it's almost, educated ourselves into not educating children the right way and losing the basics. We need to go back to those skills and drills on Fridays, the spelling tests, the timetables. That's how you learned. And these wraparound, what are they called, spiral programs like Eureka, where a unit can end on a Friday and then you come back to a test on a Monday. Like, how does that work? You know what I mean? Or a big test on Tuesday. I mean, a kid's brain just doesn't work like that.
Okay. So, I saw a line, students with parents motivated to motivate the students. So, it gets back to the parents. What do you think, Jose?
I agree. If I look at the upbringing I had, and I wanted better. And, my parents were great, but, the environment I grew up in, I wanted better. I wanted better for my kid. So when before my daughter was born, I grew up in Lowell, so you talk a certain way. Sometimes it pops up. I downloaded a dictionary app, and every day I taught myself 5 words. So when my daughter was old enough, I wanted her to hear me speaking properly. Because I didn't want to, little things like that. I did it all for her. Because at that point, when I found out that I was going to have a kid, I didn't matter anymore. It was all about her. It was all about her. Everything I did, every sacrifice, up until recently when I quit my job, I was, the dad that would literally leave before she woke up, and there'd be times where I'd come home and she'd already be sleeping. But every time we were together, I made sure that it counted, that it was like, this is what a dad is supposed to look like. This is what a man is supposed to look like. They say a daughter's first love is her dad. What kind of example if I'm going to be if every time we're together, I'm sitting there pounding beers, yelling at my friends, talking a certain way, We need to start taking more accountability. We need to look inward. I've been saying that since the day I sat in this seat. We need to start looking in the mirror and take accountability. And
I agree with you, Jose, a great deal. And I think, watching our parents, they said, work, kids, you know what I mean? And then we felt like our kids deserve more, right? Than that. Like, they weren't a priority, nor do I think they should have been a priority either. The way we make kids today, that's the only thing that they can see is them as your priority and everybody else's priority and their number one priority. But at the same time, our parents did have an idea of what was going on. But I feel like in today's days, I looked at it the same way when I had my son. I got to get back to work, go to work, and I would have daycare for him and pick him up. And and recently I left my job so I could transport him. And it's like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing in life? You know what I mean? Should a lot of my focus have been here? And should I have married somebody like Charlie Kirk who could take care of me and I could be the guardian of my home, right? But we did it our way and our different way, and we did what we could do, and it's a lesson for us too overall.
To bring it back full circle, when we were talking about autism, and I said, now that it's in front of people, maybe they use it to enable their actions. But so when we first started this conversation, what was brought up? Well, both parents are working. Well, my parents, and I'm sure plenty of other parents, weren't home, just as much, but they still took the time. So for somebody to say, I'm not raising my kid properly, or my kid's freaking out on the bus screaming because I work 2 jobs, or because... So what about that time that you do spend with your kid? And I'm not putting it all 100% on the parent. We could blame the cell phone, society, TikTok, all that. Of course, it's just but do your part. Do your part. And as long as you're doing your part, there's certain things you can't control.
John had a thought.
Yeah. Everybody out there in TV land, you got one of these fancy phones. If you got an iPhone, there's a button on the side, looking at the phone like this, so it's at your thumb, and you hold that down like this, and you say, restart this device. And a question will come up to restart, you hit yes, hit restart. And what that'll do is it'll get rid of all the cobwebs that you have going on in your phone. A lot of people say, my phone doesn't answer right, people bubble up in a phone call, I'm losing connectivity. And I say, when was the last time you started your phone? Never. Never. No, I just charge it. I thought they did. No. Restart your phone at least once a day, and you'll find it works much, much better. Moving over to tomorrow's show, we have Tom Bowman's going to be the host. Bobby Hoey's going to be. I don't know how long he's going to be here for, but Bobby Hoey's he's going to be here tomorrow. Francisco Maldonado's going to be here. Rita Mercy's going to be here from 6 to 7:30, and Bob Cox is going to be here to talk about the Bridge Club. And lastly, bubbling up in the news, I got a phone call. I talked to my friend Gary Frascarelli yesterday. He wanted to know about signatures and so forth. There are city councilors candidates that seem to not be qualified to hold the seat. They're going back to, the city did not correct their dilemma about looking for addresses, so when you go down and pull papers, they don't ask you to prove your residency, and they're following down on their duty because it's not the law, not required. We don't have to ask for ID. And now we have some challengers who are in trouble because the city fell down on their duty. What a mess.
I heard about that. So, see what you said about the phone? I think we need to do that every day when we wake up. Hit the reset button.
Before you go to bed.
Hit the restart button. No, not even on the phone. I mean, right here. Right here. Wake up every day, and if you
Women
weren't...
can't, guys can do it, women can't do that.
Well,
Most women are superior thinkers to men.
I mean, I can't argue there. I love my mama. I'm my mama's boy. She's a smart woman, you know. But well, then we got to make sure we do it twice as hard. Then, you know, every day get up and be better than you were yesterday, you know. And that's what. But yeah, I heard about that. That somebody shouldn't have qualified for the 1-year residency of Lowell.
Comment from the audience. Great show today. Hope everyone has a great day. Thank you. You guys got 4 minutes.
So, following the reset button, my wife and I did a marriage encounter, and the big thing I took away was the comment that anything that's more than 48 hours old is garbage dumping.
Yep.
And so every day is a new day to restart the marriage. But,
Absolutely. People get too fixated on their mistakes of yesterday, and they just make it worse instead of do better.
Yeah.
But again, back to that accountability. It's tough to look in the mirror and say, hey, today you were horrible.
yeah.
Today you shouldn't have spoken. You shouldn't have yelled at the kid. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done that. And do better tomorrow. That's tough. Especially in the society we live in today where we have this victim mentality where like, oh, you did something wrong. It's everybody else's fault but yours. No, it's yours.
Speaking of it's all your fault,
I didn't do it. It was John.
Donald Trump and Tom Homan and ICE. So ICE is making arrests in Lowell, I understand. Should ICE be picking up illegal immigrants, undocumented migrants, people who've been ordered removed from the country by the court? Are we overdoing this?
I mean, if you have a removal order, and I mean they're doing their job. Again, the grandstanding is a little much.
Well, let me ask you this
They're
one.
doing their job.
I'll ask both you guys this question. You get pulled over on your way home by ICE, and they pull you out of your car. You're going away. You can pull out whatever ID you want. You can yell and scream. You can do all that stuff. You're going away. This is what's happening in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts today. They pull over Cliff, and he's targeted. He's an illegal alien. He can say, but I'm not, Get in the van, buddy. You're going away. Same thing for you, Jose. You get pulled over, They decide, you know what, he's an illegal. You can pull out, here's my driver's license, here's my birth certificate.
Yeah.
Tell it to the judge, get in the van.
And that's a problem, you know. And I've heard both sides, and I mean, why don't they have a warrant? Anybody else picks you up, they have a warrant. You know, the Lowell police can't just show up to my house and arrest me without a warrant.
I think they do. I think they have a piece of paper with your name on it.
No, then that's a different story. I mean, I'm a citizen, but I've heard, you know, I don't know how widespread it's happened of citizens getting pulled over because they look like me and...
I understand they have a piece of paper, they have your cell phone number, they track you with your cell phone, that's how they locate you.
So you're saying there's no process after you're arrested?
Your name's on the list, Cliff Krieger, illegal alien, put him in the van.
And there's no process after that?
You just go to a judge, you tell the judge your story.
So there is a process?
Yes, I'm sorry, I should have aired that a little louder than I did. Tell it to the judge, they'll tell you. Tell it to the judge.
So what Trump's doing sounds just like what Bill Clinton was advocating when he was president.
Like Bernie Lynch said many, many years ago, we can always do better. It's a good start. You guys have 30 seconds.
Mike, thanks for joining us today.
Yep, I just looking to see what today's days are for the national days. Today is National VFW Day, so I thought I'd mention that. And it's National Coffee Day,
Yeah.
too.
You get a free coffee at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yep.
I think
and
I'll
it's
give that
National
a pass.
Coffee Day, too. So, there you go.
Say bye-bye.
Thanks, Eileen.
It's always good to be here. Have
Thanks,
a good one.
Jose.
Bye, guys.
See you tomorrow.
All right. All right, guys. Have a good day.
Have a good
We'll see
one.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
It is playing. Why don't I hear this?
All right, guys. Have a good day.